see, it is Ronnie Spector.
Air 15, you guys are about a minute away,
Thank you. 15 seconds.
I think you talk on two-way. Yep, it was two-way. He heard me, so yeah.
In 5,
stand by, guys, about 30
4,
out.
3, 2, 1, in show. Oh, shit. I should be telling Katie, too.
Sorry. Stand by.
You know what? People make mistakes.
We forgive you.
Life happens. You know, we forgive you, man.
About 30 seconds to you, R15.
It's an incredible story
stand
of
by.
recovery,
about 30 out.
and as you heard, their forgiveness.
Stop,
Valley police officer back on the job after a drunk driver nearly took his life.
Taking Steve over next.
The crisis is the worst we've seen in over a decade.
Mic's open.
A desperate plea for
Mic's
blood.
open. Katie.
The new incentives trying to get people
stand by,
to
R15.
to combat
stand by, guys.
Rebuilding Arizona, the
you're next. It's a quick toss.
Years in the making, adding convenience for travelers at Sky Harbor.
Stand by.
We start though with breaking news and a child in critical condition after getting shot.
Phoenix police are calling this an accidental shooting.
Boxes.
Near 19th Avenue in Thunderbird. That's where Ashley Paredes joins us live, working to get the very latest information on this investigation. Ashley?
You're up.
And taking Mike's down.
That's a very tragic situation. So many questions that
Air
still
15,
remain
your shot is up.
unanswered at this point, but it is still a very
She's going to show the ground, then you can go to it.
See, police, they remain here as they continue their investigation into this accidental shooting. We, of course, know that it was a young boy who was injured.
Let's go ahead.
And is now in critical condition.
Go to chopper, yeah.
We also have our Cliff Castle chopper up above.
Air 15, you're live.
Camera 1 has a
the
break
area
push
and
next.
the large crime scene. Now, there is crime scene tape well throughout the apartment complex. For that reason, it's because the couple that was seen coming out into the middle of the area by residents were walking around with the child, screaming for help and yelling. A lot of residents telling me that they were just terrified, didn't know what was going on, but thankfully first responders came here just shortly after and were able to take that young boy into an ambulance and off into the hospital. So we're going to be out here still
let's go back to
residents, getting more information as to
Air 15, you guys are clear, thank you.
But for now, I'm live in North Phoenix. Ashley Paredes, ABC 15, Arizona.
Now to the terrifying moments as a family escapes a quick-moving apartment.
Thanks, Ashley. You guys are clear.
You see those flames shooting from the complex inside a mother, bursting out that window so she and her child could escape.
With a B open.
The fire sparked just after 10 near Alma School and University. And tonight, our Luz Delia Caballero talks with families forced to flee, a story you'll only see on ABC 15.
The fire starting on the second floor, quickly making its way up and expanding, leaving several families without a home and some even losing it all.
We just starting our new life. We have a small baby, so we have a lot of siblings in there, but it's all gone.
Tara Shrestha-Gadka, heartbroken after having to run out of her apartment.
151, 152 will move down to the next block.
131 to
150, 152.
151, 152 are moving down to the
telling us the fire grew in seconds, forcing them to run for their lives.
So Steve has a Bama TS.
They found a great deal of fire working out of this window, second floor window, as
and then
well as
has another
smoke coming from other windows.
Deputy Fire Chief Forrest Smith with the Mesa Fire and Medical Department saying firefighters immediately attacked the flames, later learning that a woman inside this second floor apartment, where investigators believe the fire started, had to break the window in order to save herself and her small child.
There was actually fire lapping right behind her. She handed her child off to the ground, and she herself had to jump out the second floor window.
All I can just see was just like soot on her face.
Elliot Perez lives in the bottom floor apartment, immediately jumping in to help.
And there was a fire coming out of the apartment above me.
Busting through glass to get a fire extinguisher to put out the flames.
To have someone just break that glass down, you know, they gotta realize their life's in jeopardy.
Mesa Fire Department says the mother suffered some burns. She and her 4-year-old son were taken to the hospital, and both are expected to be okay.
We also found that there was a third patient who was also suffering from smoke inhalation, who was treated and released.
At least 8 apartments were affected. The apartment complex and the Red Cross are helping those displaced by the fire. Shrestha-Gadka says she's thankful to be alive.
My husband and my baby is here.
All right,
with
stand
me,
by.
so
seconds. Standard out.
Yeah. Luz Delia Caballero, ABC 15, Arizona.
Taking.
Tracking the big COVID headlines for you now. A record number of new cases in Arizona.
We're going to hold here for a second. Go ahead and push.
Pandemic high of more
We're
than
going to be behind a little bit.
18,700
It's all good.
cases.
Okay.
The rise in cases is starting to impact
there we
schools.
go.
Deer Valley Unified moving several classes online because of COVID on campus and teachers calling out sick.
Okay.
Some encouraging news. The CDC says data shows the Omicron variant is less severe, finding 91% less risk of death compared to Delta. The CDC is planning to update info en masse to explain which works the best. Many health experts encourage higher quality masks like N95 to better protect against Omicron. The CDC not formally recommending that, saying any mask is better than none.
Our hospital seeing more people testing positive for COVID as staffing remains a struggle. ABC 15's Claudia Rupsich tracking that part for us tonight.
Hey, some changes at the bottom of the block. 153 dead, 157 dead, and add after that
move them to other
will be a SOT in the top stories graphics.
Oh, you are going fancy.
Chief Clinical Officer Dr. Michael White says these are patients hospitalized for COVID
153
and others therefore other illnesses who end up testing positive.
It requires increasing resources and increasing space to be able to care for these positive patients.
Staffing at all Valley hospitals continues to be an issue. Valleywise, Banner, and Honor Health now have policies to let healthcare workers who test positive come back to work. They have to quarantine for 5 days and be asymptomatic. Dignity Health changed its policy this week to let workers return without quarantining if they have mild or no symptoms.
We are at extremely high capacity levels right now.
Dr. Stephanie Jackson with Honor Health says the staffing issue has led to longer wait times and difficulty getting appointments.
151 is going to move down to be after 208.
Various clinics and urgent care, some of them
Steve
have
will
to
be,
close
there he goes.
temporarily until
He'll
they
get his
can
camera
get enough staff to reopen.
Hospitals are preparing to increase capacity if necessary, as hospitalizations are expected to peak in a few weeks.
It's concerning that we will overwhelm our healthcare resources. We have not peaked yet in Arizona, and likely will not peak for the next 2 weeks.
So that was like the little thing. It's like just a very kind of stealth way.
Another big story
I'll show you a
tonight,
viz.
and none of us can avoid this. Inflation is at a 40-year high.
No, it's all good.
On everyday goods, jumping 7% in the last year.
Today's report tells us, I think, just validates what millions of households already knew, and that is inflation's a problem.
Mike's up and taking
a look at Arizona's numbers, we're paying about 10% more than a year ago. Meat prices with some of the biggest increases, up 14.5%.
Coffee, next 20 seconds.
Juice and soda up 8%. Clothing up more than 10%. Economic experts say this all comes down to supply and demand.
And taking stock, 20
We've also
seconds.
seen a rapid snapback in demand after the economy was initially largely shuttered in the early stages of the pandemic. So while consumers have money to spend, that imbalance between supply and demand has contributed to the higher prices on everything from the cost of homes and cars to what you see at the grocery store or anywhere else for that matter.
Inflation could lead to interest rate hikes, and that means higher mortgage costs, car loans, even credit card bills could rise.
Now to the border. Republican lawmakers calling for the governor to take extreme action. They say they want him to invoke the War Powers Act. But what does that exactly mean, and could it actually happen? ABC 15 political reporter Mark Phillips helping to cut through the noise.
Pictures of drug mules and cartel members trekking across the Arizona desert. These photos, taken in 2021 by the Cochise County Sheriff Department's hidden border camera system. Thousands of immigrants, many asylum seekers, crossing into the United States near Yuma last month. The governor calls it a national security and humanitarian crisis. Republicans in the legislature say it's an invasion.
We asked the Biden administration
the wetlands are wet.
Governor Ducey called him and said, we need your help. He said, no, we're not sending help. So what do? We said back and do nothing?
You have to be like
at the river.
On Wednesday, 20 Republican members of the Arizona House and Senate joined the Center for Renewing America.
158 will die. 158.
158
secure borders, and calling on Governor Ducey to invoke the War Powers Act as part of his border security plan.
Our budget will make significant new investments to strengthen the border strike force, provide advanced equipment to aid in the pursuit of dangerous criminals.
The Republicans want more. They believe by invoking the War Powers Act, the governor can apprehend and remove immigrants without federal approval.
The way I would do it is I would thumbprint them, give them food and water, and put them back across the border.
It may not be that simple, Representative Jay Coffin
he just
asked
did his
for an
final
Attorney
thing,
General
so
opinion
he's
in
out.
October on whether the governor can invoke the War Powers Act. He's still waiting for that opinion.
10 seconds.
A spokesman
Especially
for the
as a
governor would
politician.
not comment on the possibility
Camera one's next.
he'd
Stand
even
by. Send it out.
entertain testing the U.S. Constitution. Mark Phillips,
Mike's
ABC
open.
15,
Hold.
Arizona.
Both House and Senate Democrats are dismissing the call on the War Powers Act. The party spokesperson calls it political rhetoric ahead of midterm elections.
Right now, an urgent call for blood donors across Arizona.
Holding and ticking. Okay.
The crisis is the worst we've seen in over a decade.
Mike's open.
The American Red Cross and other groups say the blood supply is dangerously low. Several factors contributing, like surging COVID cases, canceling blood drives, declining donor turnout, and
Watch me get
staffing
denied
issues.
again for having
And the Red Cross partnering up with Phoenix Public Libraries for a blood drive on Tuesday, January 18th. There will be a drive at the Mesquite Library near Tatum and Cactus from noon till 5. You can register on the Red Cross website, and people who donate to the Red Cross can be entered for a trip to the Super Bowl.
Well, he's back. Cardinals defensive star J.J. Watt will return to the practice field tomorrow, hoping to play in Monday night's playoff game.
Taking.
I mean, it's the NFL playoffs.
Remembered forever, Zia.
This is what it's all about, and this is your opportunity to go out there and do something great. And to be remembered forever.
Watt isn't saying if a play against the Rams just yet, rather waiting to see how things go at practice this week. He's been fighting, though, to get back on the field since dislocating his shoulder during the game against the Texans in October. Today, Watt said he had surgery in November for several injuries. He's now cleared to be back on the field.
I mean, I went down, we were 7-0, and I'm sitting there thinking, you know, this team really is special. This team does have an opportunity, and it was devastating to go down at that time, and all I wanted to do was get back to try and do whatever I could to help this team. And so,
about 4 minutes.
I'm thankful to everybody who helped me along the way, and I'm hopeful and looking forward to the opportunity to come back.
We are hopeful, too, and ABC 15 is your home for the Arizona Cardinals wild card playoff matchup. Live pregame coverage starts at 4.
158's back to life.
Starts at 6.
Yeah, taking. 158 came back to life.
Behind the badge, the incredible recovery after an officer was hit by a drunk driver 1 year ago.
Taking. Steve. Cute.
No leg, no problem. A valley runner uplifting Arizona. His inspiring story on never giving up.
Taking.
A major convenience for passengers here at Sky Harbor set to open soon. I'm Mark Thompson. I'll break down everything you need to know about the Phoenix Sky Train. That's coming up.
Mike's open.
Hidden treasures in abandoned lockboxes.
It's a little too loud for me. Let's try something new. 3, 2, 1, and out. That was a little dramatic. But I was also paying attention to Steve.
I think I missed the number on what was dead.